The Indian Air Force, which is one of the largest and most capable in its region, is now championing the case for the indigenous procurement of defense equipment, even as it seeks to increase its power to cater for an increasingly belligerent Chinese military on the nation's eastern borders. The Air Force has become a vocal partner of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government slogan of Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-sufficient India, and appears to have abandoned its previous position that, as a technology-intensive service, it requires cutting-edge equipment in order to match the capabilities of its adversaries. Air Marshal Manavendra Singh, who headed the Air Force's Training Command until the 31st of December 2022, said that the procurement of indigenously designed defense equipment is now inevitable and inescapable, and that the service is factoring this into its acquisition plans. According to retired Lieutenant General D.S. Huda, who was General Officer Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army's Northern Command and is the co-founder of the New Delhi-based think tank Council for Strategic and Defense Research, the challenge for the government and the Indian Armed Forces is balancing the need to grow the nation's indigenous defense industry while at the same time procuring equipment that is fit for purpose. It would also appear that despite India's fervent desire to not be held hostage to foreign arms imports, close to half of the key equipment used in its indigenously developed aircraft and helicopters, including engines, line replaceable units, sensors and weapons, are imported. According to figures released by India's Ministry of Defence (MOD) in July 2022, indigenous content levels bettered this on the Hindustan Aeronautics (HAL) Tejas Mk1, Mk1A fighter slightly more than 53%, and the Air Framers Dhruv utility helicopter almost 56%, light combat helicopter 54%, and light utility helicopter 52%. For the Sukhoi Su-30 Mki fighter and Dornier 228 light transport, both built under license in India, the MOD cites figures of 51% and 44%, respectively. The great pitfall with relying on indigenous platforms is that most of the value goes to foreign contractors who then have total control over exports and production, says Aerodynamic Advisory Managing Director Richard Abulafia. If you're a strong Western ally like South Korea or Sweden, there's no problem with this. If you're India and want to be friends with both sides, that means you're vulnerable to cut-offs by any supplier nation you've offended. India's Air Force is now slated to acquire nearly 20 squadrons, with 18 aircraft in each, of 3 indigenously developed fighter types, the Tejas Mk1, Tejas Mk2 and the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, AMCA. All told, this will see more than 350 of the aircraft manufactured by 2045. Air Force Chief Air Marshal V.R. Chaudhary has said the service will procure enough aircraft to equip 7 AMCA squadrons and 6 with Tejas Mk2. India's Aeronautical Development Agency started work on the AMCA program in 2010, when a feasibility study was undertaken, and the formal sanction for the program was obtained in December 2018. The first prototype was to have been ready this year, with a maiden flight planned in 2026. In reality, HAL commenced production of the program's lead prototype in July 2022. Retired Air Commodore Kamuthanna, who was Chief of Test Flying Fixed-Wing at the airframer until March 2020, cautions that dilution of the AMCA effort with the Tejas Mk2 program will definitely impact the timelines for both aircraft. Considering the advanced technologies that need to be mastered for the AMCA program and its importance to the Air Force, Muthanna says it is important to enter into expert partnerships. The Indian Air Force is looking to replace its HAL-produced Jaguars. The Air Force issued its preliminary staff qualitative requirements for the Tejas Mk2 in July 2019. The key design requirements are improved range, endurance, lethality and increased payload carrying capacity that will provide the IAF with an ideal platform to replace Dassault Mirage 2000, SEPECAT Jaguar and the RAC MiG-29, AHAL officials said. The Mk2 version was conceived in 2009 as a re-engineering effort for the Tejas, with the fitment of the GE Aerospace F414 engine. However, the Air Force later insisted on developing a larger and more capable aircraft with more fuel and greater endurance and weapons carrying capability. While the Tejas Mk1A carries 2,400 kilograms (5,300 pounds) of fuel, the Mk2 will carry 3,300 kilograms. The rollout of the Tejas Mk2 was originally to have taken place last August, with a first flight planned by December 2023. It will feature the Defense Research or Development Organization's DRDO's Uttam Active Electronically Scanned Array AESA radar, an internal electronic warfare suite with jamming capability, a nose-mounted infrared search and track IRST sensor and an onboard oxygen generating system, among other enhancements. The Tejas Mk2 design features a unique layout, with the cannons in a close-coupled configuration positioned slightly ahead and above the wing plane, for optimal interaction. HAL says this will allow a low wing loading to be maintained by generating additional lift, provide better aerodynamic stability, reduce transonic and supersonic wave drag and improve longitudinal control. The Air Force has placed orders for 83 Tejas Mk1 as 73 single and 10 twin seat, with deliveries to commence next year. A first prototype made its flight debut in May 2022. Speaking at the last Aero India show in Bangalore in February 2021, HAL then Chairman R. Madhavan stated that the cost of a single-seat Tejas Mk was approximately $42 million, with the trainer version coming in at $38 million. The aircraft has a total technical life of 30 years or 3,000 flying hours, with major servicing due after every 1,000 hours. HAL is also aggressively pursuing a Royal Malaysian Air Force requirement for 18 fighter lead in train elite combat aircraft, and responded to an October 2021 request for proposals with an offer of the Tejas Mk1A. The Indian Air Force is now down to 31 fighter squadrons, a reduction from 34 in 2015, which includes 2 each of the Dassault Rafale and baseline Tejas Mk1. It has 12 squadrons of Su-30 MKIS and 6 flying the venerable Jaguar, both of which were produced under license by HAL, along with 3 squadrons each with MiG-29 UPG and Mirage 2000. Its 3 remaining squadrons of MiG-21, meanwhile, are due to be retired by 2025. The service also continues to pursue a deal for 114 multi-role fighter aircraft MRFA, with a contract anticipated in the latter half of this decade. The procurement will be made under the Defence Acquisition Procedure 2020 by Global Manufacture in India category. This will see a few aircraft, likely enough to equip 2 squadrons, acquired in flyaway condition from a foreign manufacturer, and the rest manufactured in India under license. The new type will be supported by the establishment of local maintenance, repair and overhaul facilities. An earlier example of this approach can be found in the Air Force's ongoing acquisition of 56 Airbus Defence and Space C-295 tactical transports. The program's first of 16 Spanish completed aircraft is currently in assembly at the company's San Pablo site near Seville, while Indian partner Tata Advanced Systems will be responsible for producing the remaining 40. The service's procurement situation is also clearly unsatisfactory when it comes to the induction of airborne enablers, such as new airborne early warning and control platforms and in-flight refueling tankers. The Air Force continues to soldier on with its fleet of Ilyushin Il-76-based Bereave A-50 and indigenously developed Embraer ERJ-145 derived Netra aircraft, while its Il-78 tankers have been in service for nearly 20 years and are becoming increasingly difficult to sustain. The Air Force has received approval to acquire a single tanker on wet lease, which it expects to retain in service for 3 to 4 years, while an ongoing procurement process for 6 aircraft concludes. It has also chosen to proceed with an indigenously developed solution based on adapting 6X Air India Airbus A321, after abandoning the earlier AWACS India program, for which Airbus was selected in March 2015 to provide 2 A330. More aircraft also need to be inducted into the service's training fleet, with it currently operating fewer than 260 trainers against a sanctioned strength of 388. This includes 75 Pilatus PC-7 Mk2 basic trainers, 82 obsolescent HAL Kiran Mki IA intermediate jet trainers and 99 base systems Hawk 132 advanced jet trainers. Some 43 Kiran Mk2 aircraft, which are now used during the training of flight instructors, also could soon be pressed into service. In the latter half of this decade, the Air Force will begin operating a second basic trainer type, with the current PC-7 MKEs to be joined by the Hindustan Turbo Trainer 40 HTT-40. HAL received an $850 million contract for 70 HTT-40 in October 2022 and is slated to deliver the first example next year. An additional 38 HTT-40 are to be ordered after the type has become operational. Meanwhile, a follow-on buy of 29 Hawk 132 has been reduced to 20 due to cost and engine life issues. The Air Force also recently extended a support contract with Pilatus to maintain its PC-7 Mk2, and is looking to indigenize 83 different types of spares parts on the turboprop to ensure that its fleet remains serviceable. The Air Force has approximately 260 Su-30 MKIs in use from a total procurement of 272 and is seeking to upgrade 84 of the aircraft. This will install an upgraded fly-by-wire control system, with other proposed modifications including a larger version of the Uttam AESA radar, an indigenous IRST sensor to replace the current OLS-30, a new laser designation pod and an updated AW suite. Avionics improvements will provide a new mission computer, larger multifunctional displays, a voice command system, software-defined radio, digital head-up display, helmet-mounted display system and artificial intelligence-based support systems. An important weapons upgrade to the modernized Su-30 MKI will be the integration of the new BrahMos NG supersonic cruise missile. Unlike the original BrahMos, just one of which can be carried on the aircraft's centerline stores, Station 3 of the smaller and lighter BrahMos NGS can be deployed by the fighter, and without the need to perform expensive and time-consuming structural modifications. Multiple of India's ambitious fighter projects, including the Tejas Mk2, AMCA and MRFA procurement, will be high on the agenda at the Aero India show, taking place from the 13th to the 17th of February. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.